5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome everyone to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Julia. Yay indeed. Welcome to the Thanksgiving week episode.
Extravaganza.
The extravaganza of Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. Oh my God. It's amazing.
That's fantastic.
So this is a podcast where my co-hosts and I listen to and watch all the Cincinnati-based craft beer media from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host, and today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park, which is a big day today.
It is.
Today is Pick 'em Up Day.
Yep.
Or the beginning of Pick 'em Up Day.
Exactly.
For the beer vent calendar. So
it looks like a lot of them have been picked up already.
Yeah, there's still a lot to
There's still
pick
a lot
up,
there.
but yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
And Higher Gravity wants to get these boxes out of their tap room, so if you have pre-ordered one, please come pick it up ASAP.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as of January 1st, unless you have made special arrangements with Jason, the staff at Higher Gravity is free to just dig through them and ravage the boxes and take whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's happened multiple years.
Yeah.
It's terrible what is left in those boxes.
I didn't ravage through any boxes when I was on staff. I didn't.
Just looked.
But
You just looked.
I let everyone else, but because I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm a giver.
There you go.
So thank you, Higher Gravity, for being a gracious podcast host. My name is Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally. I also brew beer for several years in the Cincinnati area, and the other voice you heard belongs to the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I'm Julia. I like to drink all of the craft beer in the Cincinnati area and beyond, and by this time next week, I will be neck deep in writing parodies about the beers that have been pulled out of the beer vent boxes.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in those, follow us on the Facebooks. Follow our Facebook page, Truth Beer Pod, and read along. Have fun. Have fun with that.
I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be great.
Great. It'll be great. So the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with, which is full-time jobs, part-time jobs. If you want to get at us, you can get at us. We'll tell you how at the end of the pod. And you can read the show notes. Read the show notes, please.
Yes.
Read the show notes, and you can get at us. Also, we have another podcast called Cincy Beer Events. Go like and share and follow Cincy Beer Events so you can stay up to date on what's going on in the Cincinnati craft beer scene. And go ahead and send us pictures and stuff. If you're of you enjoying those events, I would like to see them. And if you're breweries, send them to us, and we'll
blast them out there.
We'll put them out there.
Yeah, we will shout them out for you.
Yeah, so we can all help everyone be aware of the fun and enjoyment that you're having.
Yes.
We need to talk about drinkery.
Yes.
So, we're not like those fake-ass podcasts out there that don't actually have drinks. We have drinks. So, Julia, what you drinking?
I have a combination of things. I have a
combo.
I have a pour of Butcher and the Brewer's Spice Baby, their winter warmer. And then you brought over a bottle of Wandering Monster, one of their rotating West Coast IPAs. So we are, well, I don't know if you finished your share of it or not.
I have not. That's what I'm having.
That's what you have in there. That's what I figured, but I'm like, I don't want to speak for you because that's up to you. So that is what I'm having, and kind of already answered, but Marco, what's in your glass?
Yeah, the Wandering Monster rotating IPA. That's what I got.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, we have a decent handful of shows to talk about today.
Dope.
So let's make sure that you and I are on the same page, make sure that we both listen to the things that we all said that we listened to, even though, totally listen to that one, and then you absolutely did not listen to it. Let's find out, shall we?
Let's find out.
All right, we have Barstool Perspective from November the 22nd.
Yep.
Excellent. We have 2 pieces of content from Half-Ass Beer Review on YouTube.
I did watch those.
We have their interview with Tom and Bonnie Collins from Third Eye.
Yep.
And also, they did a beer cocktail that involves a Third Eye beer.
Yep.
Cool. We will talk about both of those. we have an episode of Blake's Craft Beer Podcast.
Yes, that we were not on.
So we're actually going to be able to recap it because we're not going to feel awkward talking about the things that Blake talked to his guests about.
Right.
And then there's a quick touch on Beers and Beards podcast because there was another Cincinnati-based beer featured on that show.
Right.
All right. I'm actually just going to go ahead and get started with that one because those are super fast recaps because the show never dives too deeply into the beers that David's drinking.
Right.
I feel like a lot of times they'll dive fairly deep into the bourbons that Gary drinks and that they both enjoy. But oftentimes the beer is just lightly touched upon, and that was the case in this episode. I'm talking about episode 164 of the Beers and No Beards podcast. Woodford.
Lightly touched upon. That would be a good beer name. Lightly touching?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a good beer name.
Maybe, yeah. Depends.
Maybe when Wandering Monsters decides to go ahead and take one of their rotating West Coast and make it a standard. Yeah,
That'd
like
be
a
cool.
core beer. They can call it Lightly Touching.
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
Why not? Episode 164, Woodford Reserve 121.2 and Corruption. David talked about drinking Corruption, which is a bourbon barrel-aged stout from Wooden Cask.
Wooden Cask.
He starts talking about it around the 36-minute mark and just kind of touches on the smell that he gets from it, touching on like the oak characteristics he gets because it is barrel-aged.
Yeah, touching oak.
A little bit on the taste, and that's kind of about it. But it does feature, again, a Cincinnati brewery beer, so that's why we want to make sure that you know about it. A couple of the other topics that they talked about in this episode, if you're interested, are bottle lotteries. Like when you go somewhere to try to get, you pay for a chance to buy a bottle of a specific bourbon or whiskey.
You want some tickets to a lottery?
Let's see. They also talked about doing a barrel selection at Buffalo Trace. They talked about experiences in tailgating. And they had a question that they posed. What is more likely? So, Mark, I'm going to ask you. What is more likely for you? Being able to take on a group of 5 men in a fight.
Okay.
Or being able to land a plane. What is more likely for you to be successful?
I think if put in this situation,
Right,
it's pretty much like, well, here I am. Let's do this. But when you put it in the context of being successful,
Yes.
probably landing a plane.
Landing a plane? Okay. Yeah, I would probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
I know there's a lot of things going on, but it's one challenge.
But it's one, right. And chances are, if it doesn't end well, it's going to be over very quickly. Whereas if fighting off, 5 guys at a time doesn't end well, that could be a much more drawn-out process that no one wants.
Unless fighting off 5 guys is the hamburger restaurant.
Ooh.
Like I just have to fight off. I just have to fight off.
That's true.
The urge to eat.
Yeah.
The rest of the fries in the bag.
This is true. They do always put that extra scoop in there for you.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It's all about context. Very good. Very good. But yeah, that's all that I had for beers and not beards, or beers and no beards. They might have beards. They just never talk about it.
They don't talk about them. We don't know.
So I'm going to say that they don't have them.
Could be fake ass beers.
They are. This is true too. Fake ass bourbons.
Could be.
Who's to say that they actually drink anything when they're recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fake.
Interesting.
Yeah. Tell them. Prove it.
All right. Well, we are going to move on from there.
Moving on.
Would you like to do a Barstool perspective? Would you like to do the half-ass beer review stuff? Would you like to do Blake's Craft Beer podcastery? Because, yeah, that's all we got.
Let's go to half-ass.
All right. Would you like to start? Because, see, here we go. Now we have another.
We have
2.
Well, we have 2 and a shout-out or something.
2 and a shout-out, yes. Would you like to start with the longer interview that they did with Third Eye or the beer cocktail?
Let's start with the beer cocktail.
All right. This was a half-ass beer review, chocolate-covered pretzel beer cocktail. The video posted on the YouTubes November 25th. And this is a cocktail that was inspired by their conversation with Bonnie and Tom of Third Eye Brewing, which we will talk about after this one. It is, according to Bonnie, it is a mix of their higher purpose milk stout and Getting Twisted, their pretzel beer.
Right.
Which sounds absolutely fantastic. I don't know why I've never thought to mix those before, but I think I'm going to have to do it.
Get in the truck.
We could get in the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all battery powered here. We could.
Go.
You know what? We could even still record while we're in the truck getting up to Third Eye.
Yeah.
Boy, that would be.
We could do that one day.
So back to a half-ass beer review. Josh and Tone were inspired by that, but they did not have any higher purpose. So they busted out the liqueur 43 chocolate.
43.
Yes. And let me just say that their attempts to create the cocktail made for maybe not the most visually appealing
didn't look
beverage.
Great.
Didn't
look great.
Tone had a very accurate thought on what it looked like, which I shall not repeat.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
But then the question came up as they were doing this, as they're looking at it and going, this doesn't quite look appealing, but sometimes it's not about how it looks, it's about how it's going to taste.
Right.
But do you
or if it has protein.
Exactly. When you make something like this, do you swirl it? Do you swish it? Do you stir it? Do you
All of it in your mouth.
Leave it layered?
Yeah, just put it in your mouth.
They also, after they tried it, they stated, you know what? We don't rate beer cocktails on our show.
No.
But if we did...
That's right.
We're not going to rate this one until we get some higher purpose and try it the right way. Which I think is fair. Which then it becomes a cuvee, not a cocktail, which then I started going, is a cuvee a cocktail? Like, can you consider that? You're not mixing different types of liquids together.
Didn't Gnome have a comment a couple of weeks ago where he was like, no, it can't be a cocktail because it doesn't have...
Well, he was saying that a cocktail has to have more than 2 ingredients.
Yeah.
Like, it has to have at least 3 to be a cocktail. But can you mix 3
Tell him I got D's. D's is one of the ingredients.
But that doesn't. But it is. It's like, is a cocktail? Does it have to be different types of mixes, like a spirit and a juice and a syrup, or could it be like mixing a shot of 3 different spirits together, and that's 3 different things? Is that a cocktail? Is mixing multiple beers together a cocktail?
Yeah.
Or is a cocktail a cuvee? I mean, there are all kinds of questions.
Well, when you take D's, which is a bofa,
yes.
That's a 2. And then add it to whatever you got.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, got you 3.
There you go.
I did have a sniff and sip count for this 6.5 minute cocktail show.
Okay, let's go.
Because that's what we do. And for people new to listening to us, our drinking game is based on the number of sips and or sniffs, and maybe both sometimes, that are taken during the course of a show. Marco found in his extensive Google searching that the average sip, the average drink that a person takes, is 2 ounces.
Yeah.
So for every sip or sniff, every countable for our drinking game, 2 ounces. So in case you're like, how in the hell did you get 15 pints out of the show?
It's pretty simple.
That's how we do it.
Pretty simple. That's it.
There were 5 sniffs. So
don't add me.
They inhaled.
Actually, add me. I don't care.
Sure, go for it. They inhaled these cocktails 5 times, and they didn't do. They weren't going to do little drink, big drink.
No, they didn't.
But they did. They just didn't do it. It was a separated event. Instead of taking a little drink and then immediately going for the big drink, they did a little drink and then they discussed, and then they just big drank the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I will give them credit. They still technically did little drink, big drink, even though that's more for the normal half-ass beer review content and not the cocktail content. But props to them for that. There were 5 sips, 5 drinks. That's counting little and big. So that is a total of 10 countables.
10 countables.
Which is, by our games, 20 ounces. Yes, 1.25 pints.
Okay.
And if that's mixing a beer and a liqueur,
that's fine.
Hell yeah. Go for it. Keep an eye on Half-Ass Beer Review. They're doing great stuff. And
they pop up in my algorithm now, which is good.
Good, absolutely. Yeah. Are you not subscribed and have the notification bell set for when they post new stuff?
I don't think I am.
Marco.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I get it.
But it's showing up in the algorithm. That's step one. We're getting there. We're getting there. Do you want to move on to their conversation with Tom and Bonnie?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep the half-ass rolling. This was a wonderful...
Rolling with that ass.
Roughly 30-minute episode. Again, this is also on YouTube, that they did when they were down in Cincinnati a month ago, about a month ago
Feels
now.
like a month ago.
Yeah, beginning of November, because it was Saunders' anniversary.
Feels
First
time.
They met up with Tom and Bonnie of Third Eye Brewing. Let's see. Bonnie had an insane Bloody Mary in
Actually,
front of her.
we know Bonnie as the
brewery wife.
Brewery wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cocktail in front of her was absolutely insane, the Bloody Mary that she had.
Yeah.
I don't know that she drank from it at all. I don't know that she could have drank from that at all.
Without housing some garnish.
There was a lot of garnish going on there. A lot of good-looking garnishes.
It looks good.
But she also reminded people that on Sundays, I know at Sharonville, I don't know if they're doing this in Hamilton as well, but at least at Sharonville, they do have Bloody Mary bars every Sunday.
Well, she's only one lady, and she hosts the Bloody Mary bar at Sharonville.
Well, right, but I don't know if they're going to have someone host one up at Hamilton.
Make a 3D printer of her in Hamilton and make it there?
Another employee.
Oh, not the same if it's not Bonnie.
No, it's not the same, but all right. The interview got started by talking about how they both got into craft beer. It was a lot of home brewing and Sam Adams. Mm-hmm. And this was a fun bit of history that you might not know about the origins of Third Eye Brewing. They had to shut down a meth lab in order to start properly home brewing their beer.
I feel like that's a story that there has to be more of those.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
But for an established brewery to admit, you know what? When we got this thing started, it was just a bunch of guys in a basement running a meth lab. And then the wife got mad and said, you're going to blow this damn place up.
Yeah.
You need to just
buy
a space.
I was scrolling. I don't remember what group it was on, but it was just a yard sign that says, blank does not live here anymore. Drugs are not sold here. Like video taping 24/7 or something like that.
Nice.
Like they have to put yard signs out
to say, please don't try to buy drugs here.
Yeah.
They talked about how Bonnie became the brewery wife. Follow her on all the socials because she posts some absolutely amazing pictures of all kinds of good stuff from Third Eye.
Yeah.
They talked about when did they feel that they were finally successful. And that's always a fun question. That's something that,
that was a good one.
When Gnome asked that, he didn't ask. So when Josh and Tone and Chris asked that question of Tom and Bonnie, it wasn't in the same way that Gnome asks when he does interviews for Cincy Brewcast.
Right.
What is your measure of success? It is more of a. This question was framed more as when did you realize kind of you had made it as a brewery? When did you realize that?
Yeah,
you
it's
had
a different
become
question,
successful?
but yes.
Yeah. But still using that framing of success because, again, to them, Tom was saying that, I mean, it kind of started as, cool, we were able to finally open this place after, 13 years of construction. That's success. We were able to open the doors. But then it's, but having people being happy to sit at the bar drinking the beer, okay, well, now we're successful. Like, now we've kind of, but then it keeps growing and building from there.
I wonder how far away from the crazy events during the pandemic of, the 2020, in March of 2020, going through about maybe 8 to 10 months after that. I think things sort of changed quite a bit after that time frame. Actually, things changed quite a bit during that time frame. And then after that time frame, it's a little more edging back towards
what most people consider normal for a brewer.
But still not. What I wonder is, how far do we have to get away from that before the eye roll of, oh yeah, they reference the pandemic again? I mean,
I don't know that will ever necessarily go away because that is now part of the history of craft beer. How breweries survived through it, how they opened during it, how they open after it with the different changes. that in different laws, all that stuff that were put into place because of it. I don't think it'll ever go away. I just think that it might slowly start becoming less and less of a main point of conversation when people talk about either their brewery starting, because a lot of places started during COVID just because of the time frame that they were in the process that, you couldn't plan for COVID.
Well, another thing that happened that isn't really talked about a whole lot is there are probably a lot of projects that just went to the wayside because because of the increase in, well, number one, locally the increase in the number of breweries, the fact that bank lending changed from, oh my God, this is a thing and it's going to be popular, to, yeah, not so much. I mean, I need a little bit more, heft
material
in the
costs and time to get stuff done. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we need a little bit more heft in the business planning of this whole situation, and then the building costs. Yes, I mean how they just went up exponentially.
Right.
And so people who, wanted to get into it and
they could afford it before, but then when all that changed, you're like, well, now our business plan, the costs that we thought we were going to have, now all that's doubled, tripled, quadrupled.
Yeah, and
we can't do this.
They scrapped the project.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can't blame anyone for that.
No.
But I'm glad that that Third Eye was one of the places that was able to push through it via, however they had things set up, and look at them now.
Yeah. I remember when they opened. I went there when they opened, and they had the plastic dividers in between the long
plexiglass
tables
and all that. Sure.
Yeah.
They talked a bit about the background and the meaning of Third Eye, the logo and the name. And I did like I don't know if it's necessarily their saying, their mantra, but opening up your mind one pint at a time. I do like it because sometimes it's when you're having a pint with someone and you're having a conversation that it's, oh, here's a different point of view that I might have never thought before. And that just kind of expands your horizon. Or even, oh, you should try this beer, this style that maybe you don't think you like. That's opening your eye, expanding the horizons there.
Right.
So very, very, very cool stuff. They talked about bringing back one-run beers, kind of one-off beers.
Yeah.
That was definitely something that was brought up a few times during this interview. Like, oh man, talking about our favorite beers, we're going to mention this one over and over because, my God, it was absolutely astounding. And is there a chance that it's going to come back? So they definitely dove into what that takes.
Right. Well, also, I just want to side comment, congratulations to Third Eye for winning another medal.
Oh my God, yeah.
At FOBAB, the Festival of Wood and Barrel-Aged Beers out there in Chicago. Congratulations on another award.
Another one. Absolutely. Well deserved. And then you can hear Tom's thoughts on world domination.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah. I mean, be careful. Third Eye might take over the world.
Well, they might.
Or at least they might make it up to Michigan for distribution.
Maybe.
I'll fight that fight for the half-ass guys, for Tone and Josh, and just be like, if there's anything I can do, if there's like something I can sign, sure, let's do it. Tom and Bonnie gave their top 5 Third Eye beers, and just like our old friends at Saunders Stories, may that rest in peace, or in hiatus for however long it rests.
Right.
There were a lot of...
Definitely.
A lot of ways to say, well, but if you're talking about my top 5 of what's on tap currently, my top 5 of all time,
right,
there are qualifiers for any top insert number here list that you're
Julia, top 5 Third Eye beers, go.
I'm going to say Getting Twisted. I will absolutely say Getting Twisted because that is just so incredibly well done. Higher Purpose, I'm going to say...
You're doing this too straight ahead. The way you need to do this, Julia, we're going to talk about this.
Oh, that's right. I need to ask for qualifiers. So
the way we need to do this is like... these beers are very special to me.
True.
They're very special to me. I treat them... with a very special regard.
Yes.
I'm going to keep that private. That's between myself and I.
Yeah.
Because it's.
I don't want to offend
anybody.
No.
These are my thoughts and feelings on the beers. I know what my top 5 are. I bet you would agree that they're amazing. but I'm keeping that to myself.
Very good. Very good. This was a really, really good interview. I really enjoyed this kind of separate, I don't want to call it a separation, but this different approach to what is normally on the Half-Ass Beer channel. I haven't watched every single one of their videos, but most of them, I don't know if I've ever noticed, and I'll have to go back. So Josh, my apologies if I'm getting this wrong. I'll have to go back and see if they've ever done interviews with other breweries. This is just the first one that I'm aware of since I kind of started following them. Incredibly well done, incredibly good questions, and you can tell how much they truly love this brewery and how just happy they were to be able to sit down and just pick the minds of the people that make some of their favorite beers.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
It was. And I agree. They really have an affinity for this brewery and the people at that brewery, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. And just a little gentle ribbing, which I actually kind of had to cross out of my notes at the end of the episode.
But please say it.
I absolutely will, and then we'll go into the sip count for this episode.
Excellent.
Because it was a video, so there is a sip count. At the end of all of the Half-Ass Beer Review videos, Josh mentions, Tone and his separate channel, and Chris and his separate channels, and he also says, all the links are down below. He's taking a page from the Gnarly Gnome School of show notes. Although,
how do you feel about that, Gnome?
Although, mad props to Josh.
Nothing.
He's just head down and
silent, huh?
Yeah, he has nothing.
You
to say.
sit in that silence there.
But I will give Josh huge props. He did put the link to the Live Like Maya Foundation in the show notes for this episode, which really is the most important link to get out there.
Yeah.
It is a wonderful foundation,
I agree.
a ton of good. The sip count for this episode, it was, again, about a 30-minute episode.
Yep.
There were 5 people sitting at the table. They did a really cool camera video situation where they had like a little inset for some of them, for Tone and Chris, who were sitting to the side and blending it all together.
Yeah, it was cool.
So there were probably more sips than what we saw, but we can only count what we can see.
That's right.
I had a total of 11 sips.
Okay, 22 ounces.
22 ounces, so 1.375 pints.
Okay. You can crush that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can complete that.
Absolutely. Easy enough. And then I want to give a huge shout out to Tone, who does Banter and Babble on Twitch, and then it's on Twitch live, and then it is kind of shared out to YouTube, to the Banter and Babble channel after the fact. Every now and then he'll do a Let's Set the Tone episode, which is more of just a conversation with someone and not the pop culture and references that the main Banter and Babble show is about. I happened to, on Friday, I was just kind of scrolling through and went, oh, cool, he's live. It's a Let's Set the Tone episode, and it was with Josh. So I'm like, cool, I'll pop in and I'll just say hi and try not to interrupt the conversation too much. Absolutely amazing conversation. They were diving into some pretty deep topics, but everything was just very well laid out, and they shouted us out. They shouted out our website, truthbeerpod.com, so cannot thank them enough for that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And then they said, hey, hold on for just a minute. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to try a beer. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'll watch and see what beer they brought. It was Dippa.
Nice.
Westside's Dippa, and Tone is not an IPA guy, which is perfectly fine. Is this the IPA that might be Tone's gateway into opening his third eye?
The Dippaverse.
Towards IPA. The Dippaverse. Watch this. I would say watch. It's a little under 2-hour episode. If you want to watch the part where they just do the beer review, that's about an hour and 30 minutes in. I recommend watching the entire show, but if you really just want to see what Tone and Josh have to say about Westside's Dippa, skip to about the hour and 30 minute mark. But I did count the sips that they took of Dippa in this. I'll say it was like a 5-ish minute segment on the beer before they got into their other topics. In that 5 minutes, they took 5 sips, which is 10 ounces, and just over half a pint.
Yep.
So in 5 minutes, yeah, why not? But huge shout out to those guys. We absolutely do that. Huge shout out to those guys.
Hold on.
Always a lot of fun.
Gonna do that.
Gonna do that right now? Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Keep an eye on the Half-Ass Beer Review channel for beer news, or not news, but beer reviews and beer conversations. keep an eye on Banter and Babble for pop culture references and 7 Dungeons. I always get this wrong. I keep wanting to say 7 Dragons for Dungeons and Dragons. So I will.
You like dragons, Julia?
And goblins.
Goblins, okay.
I will put all of these links in our show notes.
Excellent.
Along with maybe a couple extra little random links.
That
Because why
would
not?
be a great idea.
No one commented on the random link that I put into the show notes from 2 weeks ago, I think it was, 2 or 3 weeks ago. All right. We have 2 more shows to talk about. We have Blake's Craft Beer podcast and we have Barstool Perspective, but I think we need to take a break first.
It's a good idea.
And when we come back, we will do
Julia
that.
with the good ideas.
I mean, every now and then it happens.
Yeah.
Not super often, but I mean, sometimes it works out.
Sometimes.
All right. Hang around with us for a little bit and we will be right
Back.
Well, that took a while, but
Yeah.
we are
Back.
and we have 2 more shows to talk about.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and get through.
Ah! Oh, there's a couple of back voices.
There are a few in the background.
The background.
Yeah.
They are the back beer boys.
Back beer boys. All right.
Hi, Thirsty. I'm Dad.
Ah!
Oh, we have sitting across the table from us. We have the gnarly Gnome and Freddy Krueger. So that's all that I've been thinking of since he walked in. I'm like, with that sweater, I'm like,
With that
it's Freddy.
sweater,
It's
like,
Freddy.
what?
It's Freddy.
What?
But Freddy had bigger hands. Joe's hands are very small.
Yeah.
So he doesn't.
Freddy's hands were not big. It was the claws that made them
That's
look
big.
big.
That's
He was
razors.
compensating for tiny hands.
Yes.
Before we move on to
Okay.
whatever it is that you guys do,
Yeah.
I want to confront you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A podsequence?
Consequences.
Well, I don't have anything to podsequence you with, but I want to say that I like my life and I don't like being choked to death by laughing. And if that is your greatest accomplishment,
It's possibly.
Possibly, yeah. That was, yeah.
is that what was said?
Yep.
Possibly.
It's possible.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't like, so it was a funny episode, though. Yeah.
Thank
Agreed.
you.
Yeah.
Probably our last funny one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Final one, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the final funny episode.
Final one, yeah.
Episode 38 of Blake's Craft Beer Podcast. Ryan and Brittany from MadTree. Do they remember their first craft beers?
Do they remember?
Did they?
It was foggy.
It was foggy, but
it was
Always
foggy.
foggy, right?
but I feel like they
Yeah.
had better recall than
Total Recall.
some other guests have had.
Yeah.
How Brittany went from the wedding industry to brewing, which was a lot of fun. I personally
Sort of
don't
similar
know.
path for me.
Yeah, I mean, you were the one designing the gowns. They
No, I
were
got married,
Stunning.
and
Yeah,
then-
Oh.
in the brewing
similar
industry.
to me too. Like
Oh,
I got
you got
married and I
married and
started
you started
drinking
drinking?
heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe?
Actually, I
Ditto.
think I did too. Yeah, yeah. So getting married causes you to drink. All right.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Science.
Science.
Beer.
I loved hearing about Brittany. Wow, this is going sideways.
I love that Brittany.
Brittany's first project at MadTree was taking on International Women's Day. And
was a
that was
setup.
also when COVID hit. So the beer that she
I call
helped
bullshit.
to brew.
I don't-
Yeah,
Her first thing, she had to go through the orientation, had to fill out paperwork.
her first brewing
First-
project.
Oh, you didn't
Yeah,
specify.
I did. I did not. You're
I-
correct. You are correct.
I also don't like that MadTree planned COVID around the women in beer.
Yeah, that's kind of
Especially
bullshit,
with the notorious RGB.
Come on, MadTree,
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How MadTree planned that way.
Marco, you run with this one, and I'll just comment on your notes.
For the two of them who've been with the company for a very long time, Ryan almost the entire time,
Yep.
and Brittany for a very long time. This was a great conversation with two people who Blake has interviewed before on a different podcast. And I feel like because they did the psych night, with, inviting all the industry
We're called
influencers,
influencers. Yeah, influencers.
Influencers.
All of the influencers were there.
which is sort of cringy for me.
Yeah.
It's not. I
That's
don't.
the joke.
I don't
Very
know.
cringy.
Yes, it's
You should
cringy.
never call yourself an influencer.
Yeah, it's cringy. But it was a really that night was a really good time, and we had really great conversations. So what you're getting a glimpse into is into some of that conversation.
What I think is cool is that like when you get these chances where with Blake where you get to people multiple times, you start to get comfortable, you start to you don't have to ask the simple questions that are on the surface. You can kind of dig a little bit deeper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's where interviews start to get really fun. Is like once you don't have to. Oh, so tell me, tell me about what is MadTree. Like nobody, we've got that.
We know that already. Yeah,
Get us past that, and like once we can get past that, it gets really fun. And so for Blake to be able to sit down with people multiple times, those interviews start to open up and start to be better for me.
Right. Like he started up a new segment in this episode called Talking Tips, and he was able to really harvest that or leverage that by talking to Ryan and Brittany about gathering spruce tips for
Just
their
the
ideas. Just the
tips.
tips.
Just the tips.
Just the tips.
Which is
And the
far different than the
logistics-
segment we did about tips.
They talked about planting trees for the community, which is something that MadTree's
I
been
see
doing
what you
for a
did
very
there,
long
buddy.
time.
Yeah, it's a tubular meat joke.
Yeah.
Hey. Always about everything tubular with you. It's fine. It's part of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Joe, you
Who
got
I
tubes?
am.
If you have any tips on how to grow trees, talk to Blake. So if you need help with how to properly plant a tree, how to properly take care of your tree, Blake is the guy to reach out to.
I want tips on, I want helpful hints on,
I'll give you tips.
hold on now, buddy. Wait up,
You
later.
have more than one?
Wait up.
No.
Wouldn't you like to know?
No, actually, no. I'm good.
So there are many times when I've gone to the grocery store over the past, 20 plus years, where I've needed thyme
Wait.
and basil.
Nope, let's stop. What did you do before 20 years ago?
Right, I was gonna say.
You've only gone to the grocery store for the last 20 years?
No, but needing a specific item.
So you've only
Okay.
ever run into a situation where you've needed a specific item for the last 20
I
years?
think people as old as I am.
They didn't have grocery stores back
This is true. You had to go down
The
to the old
milkman
barber.
came to your
No,
door.
they
The
didn't
fishmonger.
have. They didn't have live herb plants at the grocery store. You had to go to the hardware store to get your herb plants, which is weird.
Yes. No.
So in the grocery store there are live herb plants, and I would buy a live herb basil plant, and I would buy a live herb thyme plant, and I'd take it home, and I would try and care for it, and treat it, very well, and make sure it was full and supple. Like that word, Julia, right? Supple.
Sure. Moving on, Parks and Rec is closer than you think.
It is.
It is moving along. The construction team is ahead of schedule, so fingers crossed. Look for an early spring-ish. Got to have that ish on there. Open date for MadTree Parks and Rec up here at Summit Park. It's gonna be awesome.
I've heard dates
Sure,
thrown out there
yeah,
that
yeah.
are not spring.
Right, same. But you got to have that ish. Blake is trying to get MadTree to steal Bachfest away from over the Rhine. That was kind of the last thing that they talked about.
They talked about events and
Yeah.
what events that they had.
Yeah.
They have the anniversary event. They do advertise Ziegler Fest, but that's don't they have that at a park?
No, it's at
the
MadTree.
top.
It's at the tap room.
Yeah.
So they have the anniversary event, Ziegler Fest. They don't.
Ziegler Fest is not really like a full-on Oktoberfest celebration.
Yeah.
It's just like a
Celebration
like a
of
day.
it. Yeah.
It's not.
It's
Doesn't
not.
count.
So
Doesn't
it's
count.
not.
No.
I've never been, so I appreciate the insight, the information.
It's a great day to go to MadTree, but it's not an Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Sonder throws an Oktoberfest.
Yes.
And it's an
Right.
Oktoberfest.
Yes.
Right.
It's not like that. It's just a day
Their
to come.
beer and yeah. Yep.
I danced at Sunder's Oktoberfest. It was
Look
a
at me,
washout.
Louis.
It was fine. We warmed up with poking. Just the tip.
You and
I was
Joe.
going to say yes.
You and Joe warmed up with
Annie
poking
Elijah
tips.
and lots of other people too.
There was random people.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
you just poke random
I poke
people.
random people.
Once you get your poker out, I mean, everyone's going to come running.
Hell no.
That's just kind of
They do. Yep.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Everyone
Your
wants to
poker
tip.
brings
It's
all
fine.
the boys to the yard.
Hell yeah.
There were girls too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I poke
That's
any?
fine.
I don't know. It might have just been dudes.
Equal opportunity
Sure,
poking.
why
Do you
not?
remember? Like, were you paying attention to who I was poking? Sometimes I get a little.
A little confused?
Yeah, I just start poking whoever walks up.
I mean, this is a great episode, another great episode of Blake's podcast.
Oh, yeah, Blake,
like
for
you
sure.
said,
I don't think
digging
I've
into.
poked Blake before.
I don't know if you have either. That's
I gotta-
between you and him.
I gotta
Blake,
poke Blake.
get over here.
Blake,
Bend
gotta
over.
poke you, buddy.
No. Like you said, Gnome, it was really fun listening to him talk to Ryan and Brittany because since he's talked to them before, it really opened up more opportunity for better. I don't want to say better questions. That's the wrong word, but for
A build
different-
on the questions.
A build on the questions, right? That you typically get from your first time talking to someone. So,
Yeah.
Blake, another fantastic job, and looking forward to what you do next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
We have one more show to talk about. But before we do that, you know what we have to do.
Oh, shit.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Fuck.
Ooh, did someone not prepare for week 13?
You guys, while you're doing that, I canceled my YouTube TV subscription. I'm not watching the Bengals anymore.
Okay, fair weather fan.
That's your
ridiculous.
announcement.
This is ridiculous.
That's your announcement. I'm not.
I know,
watching
I'm not
the
doing it.
Bengals.
It's like, okay, well.
This is where it
'cause
gets
the only
good.
It
the
means-
only reason to have YouTube TV was to watch the Bengals, and I
this
said,
is the
"Fuck
point.
it."
It was.
I'll make my pick right now. This is the
Okay,
point
okay.
in the season.
I'm going first before Marco steals my pick. I'm going Lions.
Okay.
Love what the Lions are doing. I'm going Lions.
This is the point in the season where the Bengals get fun, where they start
Oh,
to
yeah.
they start to dial in and they figure their shit out. And as Cincinnati sports fans, we get to root for the underdog because
Yeah.
right now we're kind of the underdog. So
I-
I'm going Who Dey. I'm
Always
picking the
the
Bengals.
Today, I have a flag hanging up in my dining room
Mm-hmm.
that says Cincinnati, this year is our year, but the word this can be ripped off to say next year is our year.
Yeah.
I am not
That's
ripping
great.
I am not ripping that off
No.
yet. Like there
We've-
is still
We've still got to go.
we still have a chance.
I actually think that the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Ravens are going to make the playoffs this year.
dude, that'd be amazing.
I really think that's going to happen.
This is going to be potentially controversial. Can we have the Browns make it instead of the Steelers, please?
I would
Well,
like
we have
that,
to beat the
but
Steelers.
we can't. I don't think that's physically possible.
I don't know. Might be. Marco, who's your pick? 'Cause this is going on long.
Actually, I think
She said.
what she said.
I think that what's important is that I give some context to my pick.
I don't think it is at all, actually. But yeah,
Julie's
yeah,
like,
that's-
Julie's like, I would like to get out of this scenario.
my hands
yeah.
are fucking ice cold. This isn't good.
I have gloves.
If you pick a team right now
but-
that the Bengals need to lose to make the playoffs,
I'm picking Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos versus the Cleveland Browns.
Stop.
Wait, so you Broncos
we need
or Browns?
the Broncos to lose.
No, I need the Broncos to win.
No.
What are-
The
who- what?
Bengals need the Broncos to lose.
I don't care.
Oh, see, this
I
is-
am in this,
this
for me.
This is where it gets.
This is where all this
yeah.
stuff gets. This
So
is why.
Broncos-
He's more of a
Who
fair
Dey?
weather
Yeah,
fan than
Broncos.
I am.
All right.
Who Dey?
Broncos. Who Dey?
All right.
I don't like
We'll
this.
see. We'll see what happens.
Hand me that recorder. I'm going to shove it up Marco's.
You're the one that keeps forgetting your recorder. This is from Don Rock the Imposter
Right,
on
it's
YouTube.
it's a recording. You're right.
Yes, the recording of a recorder. Yes, and it is amazing. Watch his stuff. It is
Marco, I
phenomenal.
don't like this. This is the point in the season where I'm turning against you, and I don't like it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Barstool Perspective from November 22nd, 2024. I titled this one, I'm the Reason Brett Drinks. Which is kind of a fair statement.
It's valid.
Okay.
There was a great conversation in the comments during the live stream about Brett's sip count. And he was like, well, Julia fucking called me out on it, so now I have to do it. And I'm like,
I just hope that at some
Bring
point
it.
in the middle of the show he just bursts into tears. I don't want to drink anymore.
I don't want to do this.
But you're making me
He
drink.
can drink water when they have had coffee, water, that type of thing.
Sip counts
It
or
all
sip
counts,
counts?
right? He doesn't have to drink beer.
Yeah, but we'll make fun of him.
We'll absolutely make fun of him, for sure, but he doesn't have to.
Does he drink his own Urban Artifact beer.
Yeah,
on
he
his
gets
show?
high on his own
Sometimes.
supply.
So is
for
it
sure.
beer?
Not usually, though.
Not usually, but he has once or twice. So the biggest piece of news they talked about, Sam Adams bought a bunch of land in Cincinnati. $4
Yeah,
million, almost
that-
$4 million for just one single building.
That's
As a
interesting.
Not accurate, but yes.
It's my truth. I can't give away all the exact details, but
It's just interesting. Obviously, they have plans for it, and what are those plans? I mean, we'll see.
the plan is that I now sell all of my Tilray stock and buy not even half, like one share of Boston beer stock with that money.
No, you buy one of those properties that's in between the thing they just
If I
bought
wouldn't have
and-
sold my 401k or cashed out my 401k to buy Tilray stock, maybe I could have done that. But I was led astray by the financial experts that Brew Skies are not.
There are anywhere
So
from
there's your problem.
4 to 12 holders of real estate in OTR that at some point in the next decade are going to make a shit ton of money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And a lot of twisted teas. So Shift Beers, rest in peace. Get ready.
Do they have to get ready if they don't exist anymore?
They exist somewhere.
Yeah,
But they're always ready.
That's true. That is very
Stay
true.
ready.
Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar are putting their name on tequila.
You got to pronounce it like Brett. Guy Fieri.
Fieri.
All right.
Okay.
And what happened to their first major shipment as it was coming across to its final destination? Got fucking hijacked.
I don't know, but don't go look at my shed right now.
Right. It's like, oh, that what happened?
What? I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. No one has ever died from methanol poisoning from beer.
True.
It's true.
True? Oh,
True.
great. All right. They went in depth
Correct.
into that statement.
Yes.
And, yeah. Yes, true. Yes, false.
I'd try a shot of methanol.
no,
You might only go blind
Sounds
for like a few minutes.
No.
Sounds tasty.
I wouldn't.
Sounds flammable.
Well, it's all flammable, but
Very, very true.
one will make your butthole tingle and your eyes go dim.
All the better for the poking. Mike absolutely loves Leonardo DiCaprio. And his...
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to call it a rant because it was just positive, but his raving about DiCaprio and Scorsese was the
Oh, yeah.
pinnacle of perfection for this episode.
I mean,
It was-
it's a proper educated person's assessment.
Yeah, yeah. Which then somehow turned into how cheap third spaces are harder and harder to find, if at all.
That was a quick flip.
It was a very
into-
quick flip,
into
yes,
that.
yes. So when you want to find that space that's not work, that's not your home to hang out at, like your options are extremely limited.
I don't know if they're extremely limited. I think
My
Well-
neighbors keep getting mad when I show up at their dining room table. I'm like, this is my third space.
There are they're
Chris's garage bar.
yeah, the garage
You just
bar.
show up.
Yep. Let's see. There was
Wi-Fi reception sucks there. It's
Yeah.
not good for working.
Maybe he does it on purpose. Maybe he's
Probably
limiting
true.
your bandwidth. Could be. There is a Budweiser update because I know everyone has been on bated breath for that. They have decided that Busch Light is the way to go.
When was the last time you had like just a Budweiser?
It's been a very, very long
Like a
time.
Bud Heavy?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even think of it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Do you want to?
Out of all the buds, I would choose a Budweiser.
You want to?
Of all of the buds, I need a list of the buds.
Well,
Currently
Bud-
existing buds or all
Bud
buds that
Bundy.
have ever been.
Bud, that's the only buds I know.
well, there's Bud Light and Budweiser.
Oh,
and
those two. Yep, those exist.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Is there
a
Bud
Black
Dry?
Label, remember?
Bud Dry? Is that still around? Why ask why? Try Bud Dry?
I don't know.
I don't think it's still
I have no idea. Mike has never seen a petard. Don't Google it.
I've seen
You've
Mike's
seen-
petard.
This was an incredibly fun episode. There were a lot of good and bad jokes. There was a lot of laughter. And, I mean, really, how can you beat an episode that starts off with Mike screaming about how the computer doesn't think he's human?
That was the best part
That
of the
was
episode.
absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was another fantastic episode. I don't know if they always have the chat from the live stream.
They've started doing
Have
that
they
yet.
started
It's
doing
like
that?
the
Okay, I know
last-
that a couple of them they have not.
Do you want
Still
the
not
very-
titling the episodes?
Do you want
but-
a very sad top 5 of guys named Bud?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, coming up at actually OL.
Are these real people or
Like
fictional
fictional
too?
real
characters
people.
or-
Okay,
Real
so it's
people.
fictional too.
Real people. OLI number 7. Bud Wilkinson.
No idea who that is.
Okay.
All right, number 6. OLI outside the top 5. Bud Abbott.
No idea who that is.
Neither do I. Number 5, coming in at number 5, Bud Shank. Looks like he's playing a saxophone.
Okay.
Number 4, Bud Adams.
No idea.
Number 3, Bud Collins.
No idea.
Number 2, Bud Powell.
Nope.
And number 1, coming in at number 1, the
Air
number
Bud.
1 most famous person named Bud, according to, I don't know, Bud Selig.
Okay, I have heard that name before.
Yeah.
In passing, I'm sure.
So you got to be a commissioner of a league.
In order for me to know who you are.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyone else have any other notes on this episode before the sip count?
Nah.
All right. Mike took a total of 18 sips. Brett took 31 sips.
Overcompensating.
I am so proud of him, which means that next episode, it needs to be at least 35. Like, he's got to keep upping the ante here. That is a total of 49 countables,
All right.
98 ounces.
Hell yeah.
6.125 pints in this 34-minute episode.
That would make even Airbud
That-
happy.
Absolutely it would.
Air Bud.
Yeah.
Popular Bud. On the OLI,
Popular.
didn't make top 5.
Yeah, but I mean, you were reading, names that weren't on the top
disappointing.
5, so.
Yeah.
I'm going to contest that. I think Airbud is on the top 5.
Okay. Give me.
I'm sure he's on the top 5
Give me the
list
rest of
somewhere.
your top 5.
Top 5 buds
Everything
according
you
to
just
Joe.
said, but Airbud.
And Bud Bundy.
Yeah,
Bud Bundy's the best
yeah.
bud.
Yeah, yeah.
We have 2.
Yeah.
Can you come up with 3 more to make a complete top 5?
I
Nope.
can't.
Everything you just.
All right, any other notes on anything that we have talked about this episode?
Buddy LaRosa.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. Very good.
All right.
We're doing it, people. We're doing it.
We can get
All
this.
right.
My dog's name was Buddy. Does that count?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
If we can't come up with the top 5, he's number 3 now.
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
You-
If you like what we
You're
have
a great
done
one,
tonight,
buddy.
do the things that you should do, like, subscribe, follow, review, all that good stuff. I'll make it easy for you. Go to truthbeerpod.com. Links to everything from this podcast feed to the Cincy Beer Events podcast feed about all the Cincinnati beer events that are happening, and how to sign up for our mailing list to get those events emailed directly to you. Also, how to sign up for our Patreon, where you get all of the unedited nonsense that comes out of each and every episode.
Do
It's a
Nutty
lot of
Buddies
fun.
count?
Ooh.
Well, you could.
Maybe.
It's your list.
It's your list.
It's your
yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Nutty Buddy, number 4.
All right. Gnome, Joe, Marco, what are you guys going to be doing next Tuesday?
Doing this next Tuesday.
I'll be at home.
I'm going to try to find another
Promise?
buddy.
Another buddy to poke?
Sorry.
One
All
more
right.
buddy.
Cheers.
Don't have to be sorry about it.
I know. I'm empty. It's bad luck.
You don't say it out loud. You don't let people know what's happening.